And now, please welcome the director of Snowfall, Mr. Conor WHELAN. Hello, Conor. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
First professional film, I think.
Yeah, it is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I studied Viscom initially, visual communication, so a lot of graphic design and printed graphics, and kind of from there I went more towards motion graphics and that sort of thing, and advertising, and then now this is my first short film. I always loved animation as a kid, always growing up. And I remember my sister, I think maybe for Christmas when I was 11 years old, she gave me Richard Williams' Animator's Survival Kit. Which at the time was very, very technical for me. But I was like, I'll put that aside for now, and maybe in years to come I'll look at it. And then sure enough, when I finished college a couple of years ago, I was more and more interested in animation, and I found that book again. And it was like the Bible, and I can't believe I had it under my own eyes, under my nose the whole time. So from there I started doing little bits of animation, and that's kind of how I got here now, pretty much.
Did you take your book with you here in Annecy?
I have it in my bag. I'm going to ask him to sign it later. I do.
The graphic aspect of your film is very, very strong.
Okay.
So I would like to congratulate you for this.
Thank you.
And I would like to know, is it something that you developed especially for this film, or it is your personal style and you do illustration like this, or?
I still think I'm finding my personal style. Excuse me. I don't think I have a strong personal style yet, but yeah, I mean, I'd done kind of some short little vignettes, little animated pieces before, and they definitely influenced this piece. For example, I made a short called Windows, and it was just black and white, but it was really tightly cropped, kind of unusual aspect ratios, and that obviously translated into this film as well. I just felt it was appropriate for this because I really wanted the audience to feel the emotion of the main character, and one of the ways I tried to do that was by using the different aspect ratios and by using the different frames. Because when you're looking at the majority of the film is seen through a very small window, and it feels kind of uncomfortable. So I used that for when the character was feeling uncomfortable or insecure, and then gradually as the evening progresses and he becomes more relaxed and more comfortable, the aspect ratio gets bigger and bigger until it's full frame. So I think by setting up the film, these small little windows, it kind of allows you to give a sense of freedom and kind of unrestraint when you use full frame. So that was the thinking behind that. I mean, I think, yeah, my personal style is still developing. Still working on it.
Sometime with young filmmakers, I have the feeling that they want to put all their experience, all what they have to say just in a film of 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Sure,
so it's very overloaded, I would say. Your film is not like that. I really had the feeling that you were very close from the emotion of your character, and you took time to let the viewer feel what the character felt.
Yeah.
So tell me about your relation with the timing, with the construction of your film.
Yeah, I was quite severe in the editing section of it because, I mean, I would do the initial thing, like make a storyboard, but it's unusual when you make a storyboard because it was only me that was working on it. So when I make a storyboard for myself, it's very, very rough because no one has to understand it except for me. So at that stage, then I would make an animatic just using the rough frames. And from there, I would see which bits are necessary and which bits aren't. Because I think the core message of the film is quite simple. It's a very small, simple message. So it doesn't need a lot of expansion. I think to tell it succinctly and to tell it shortly, that was my goal. So I was quite, like I said, I was quite severe in the editing room. Like, is this scene important? And if it isn't, get rid of it. Because I think that's the hardest thing to do sometimes when you're really close to something. But I try to remain objective when it comes to that sort of editing. But yeah, that's kind of how the timing worked. And yeah, it felt like the right length for the film. I don't think it needed to be any longer. Yeah.
Some question from the people in the room.
Bonjour, j'ai trouvé un soin particulier sur la bande-son, le travail sonore. J'ai vu que c'était Fab Martini qui était à l'origine à la fois du travail sonore en tant que sound designer, mais aussi d'une des 3 chansons, ou si ce n'est pas la même. C'est un artiste que vous avez rencontré comment et pourquoi ce choix?
Okay. Thank you for your question. The sound was done by a really talented Italian sound designer called Fab Martini, and he had contacted me through Vimeo actually maybe a year or 2 ago, and he had said that he was kind of starting up into sound design and if I had any projects in future to keep him in mind. So up until now I had kind of done some of my own sound design, but with this film I decided that it's not my strength. I think because the sound was really important to the story, so I figured I should pay someone else to do it because they can do it better. So he did an amazing job with the sound, I think, and I was really, really pleased. That was one of the most exciting moments for me when I first saw it with the sound. And he did some of the music as well. So the music was done, I did a little bit of it, he did a little bit of music, and then the kind of background music in the parties was done by my cousin's band, called Basenji. I have to give them a plug. But yeah, because there was a very limited budget, i.e. there was no money for this. So I was calling in favors, basically. My cousin let me use his music for free, and then I was plonking away on a keyboard, and that's how the music came about, really. But yeah, I mean, Fab Martini does a fantastic job with the audio, and it really, really pulled it together, I think. Like, if I had any doubts before, when I saw it together with the music, I was like, okay, it works. So that's how the music came about. Thanks.
Last question for Conor WHELAN. Yep.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, like I told you yesterday, I love your film. I agree it was very brave to decide to talk about one situation, and that's it. I feel like in animation we tell things. It's a language that tells things that nothing else can. And yeah, you could not write your film in a poetry of your film and have the same effect. So, So the question is, a lot of it was solved with animation solutions, like the floating of the characters to express sensation and emotion. And did you get to those ideas in writing first? I'm gonna have him float, or the snacks float to portray this sensation. How that animation idea came about?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, initially that was my initial idea that I wanted. I find the idea of emotions being represented physically really appealing, and I think it's one of the main strengths of animation that you can't really do with live action. You can't really do, like you say, with a lot of other mediums. So with this film, I really wanted to make a story about that feeling when you first meet someone you like, and more importantly, how we remember those moments. Like, a lot of the time, I think we remember those moments. It's easy to feel sad or kind of wistful that those moments are over, but I think we should feel grateful for them because they're new and they're fresh and they're exciting, you know? So, yeah, I wanted the kind of flowing thing and the flying thing, it just felt like a natural physical example of that feeling, you know? It feels like you're floating, so why not make the character float? And I really wanted, for a long time, I've wanted to do a long shot, like a long, like 20-second, 30-second shot, and this seemed like a really good example of it, a really good opportunity to do it, I mean. So yeah, it was one of my initial ideas, and I think I'm going to continue doing that sort of thing, like making the emotional physical, because I remember hearing a quote about animation saying, don't do what film can do what film can't do. So that's always in the back of my mind when I'm thinking about animation, what I'm going to do next. Yeah. Thank you.
Conor WHELAN, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.